Regardless of where you are throughout everyday life, there may come a moment that you coincidentally find a subject that is hard to fathom. Learning new things can take some time, however, consider the possibility that you don't have a lot of extra time. We've assembled a couple of ways you can accelerate the learning interaction. 1. Separate the information into chunks. This can help you digest the data quicker. For instance, in case you're learning another dialect, you could separate it into things, action words, modifiers, and tenses. It helps the data feel less overpowering, and it gives you a way ahead on the most proficient method to examine it. In case you're gaining from a course book, it very well might be coordinated like this as of now. 2. Set small learning goals for yourself. Make your goals specific and time-based to cover the most ground. It will help break up the subject, so you aren't overwhelmed by an entire field of knowledge. You could also set smaller goals throughout the weeks to work up toward learning an entire subject. For example, if you're studying maths, try making it a goal to nail down basic algebra by next week. Then, you can move on to tougher concepts, like calculus. You can also split things up by chapters in a textbook. 3. Take notes. They will help you remember the subject. Great notes make studying much easier. Listen to the information being presented and write it down in your own words. Write down key information in short phrases, rather than using complete sentences. Leave spaces in your notes to jot down comments or questions later on. For example, instead of writing down, the food chain is a hierarchical series of organisms each dependent on the next as a source of food, you could write, food chain, series of organisms eating each other. Try developing a shorthand that's easy to write down and understand. For example, if you're learning about chemistry concepts, you could shorten catalyst to the cat, chromatography to chrome, or stoichiometry to touch. If you're taking notes on how to do something sequential, like how to solve a math problem, write your notes down in steps. That way, it will be easier to remember how to apply those same steps to different problems. 4. Write down notes instead of typing them. Studies show that writing notes by hand solidifies information in your head. Try going a little old school and whip out a sheet of paper and a pencil. If you want to keep your notes organized, type them up later and save them on your computer. Writing your notes out by hand can take a little longer than typing them up, so it's important to write in phrases and use shorthand. 5. Ask questions if you're feeling stuck. Getting someone else to explain it can help you learn faster. If there's a key concept that you just don't quite get, don't be afraid to ask. If you're in a classroom setting, approach the teacher or fellow classmate. If you're working on your own, try Googling it or finding an online forum for help. If you're in higher education, go to your teacher's office hours to get help throughout the school year. 6. Study the subject 10 to 20 minutes a day. Studying will help you learn the subject faster. Lengthy cram sessions don't help you retain information in the long term. Instead, try to space out your study time, so you're doing a little bit every day. Try studying for 10 to 15 minutes every evening, or whenever you have time. Studies show that trying to cram a bunch of knowledge into your mind right before a test will only help you retain it in the short term. If you're limited on time, you might not be able to spread your studying over multiple days. If that's the case, just make sure you take lots of breaks to give your brain a rest. 7. Teach the subject to someone else. Grab a friend or classmate and pretend you're a teacher. Go over the basic concepts of what you're learning and answer any questions they might have. If you get stuck or struggle at any point, go back and revisit the stuff you're having trouble with. If you can teach a subject to someone else, you're probably pretty close to mastering it. 8. Recite the information out loud. Read a portion of the material, then say what you just learned. You don't need to be talking to anyone, you can do this alone in your home if you want. Speaking the information out loud helps you memorize it faster and keep it in your mind for longer. After you're done, go over the information one more time to make sure you got it right. If you missed anything or struggled in one area, go over it a few more times. 9. Connect the information to the real world. What will this knowledge help you do in the future? What is it helping you do right now? Connecting a subject to something you're doing outside of a classroom setting is a great way to keep your interest piqued. Oftentimes, people connect subjects to what they're doing career-wise. If you're learning chemistry, maybe you'll use it when you work in a lab later on. If you're studying math, maybe you'll crunch numbers at an accounting firm in the future. 10. Memorize information with a mnemonic device. Use this trick to learn chunks of information quickly. For example, if you want to remember the colors of the rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, you could use the mnemonic device Roy G. Biv. It's much easier to remember, so you can memorize it faster and use it to retain information. If you're learning the order of operations in math, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, you could use the mnemonic device, PEMDAS. 11. Test your knowledge with practice tests. Practice tests can show you where you're struggling. You can find tons of practice tests online for almost any subject. If you're in a classroom setting, you can also ask your teacher to see if they have ones you could practice with. Make sure you check your answers and go over anything that you struggled with. You can also ask a fellow classmate to check your answers for you. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section down below. See you in the next video.